You are now watching Believe. Do you believe?
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Believe in Bills podcast. I'm Justice General Radford, and of course, as always, I got the two legends with me: legendary coach Mookie Hawkins and legendary player and Hall of Fame candidate Rueben Brown. What's going on, fellas? How y'all doing today?
All good,
Victory
man.
Monday, baby. Victory Monday. Gotta love it.
Monday.
Always good.
Absolutely. Celebrating the Bills' win, especially coming off of a tough loss where we lost a close game. 0-7 for the last 7 close games. Finally get out of that slump and get a W versus another AFC juggernaut as far as I'm concerned in the Ravens. So it feels good. But we're going to go ahead and get our kickoff started. And I feel like this is a fair question. I'm going to start off with you, Rube. Yeah. Did the Buffalo Bills win this game or did the Ravens lose it?
It's one or the other. It's like the chicken or the egg on this situation, because none of us deny the fact that the Buffalo Bills were playing a very good team and definitely a team that they could end up seeing in the postseason. That's the caliber of competition that they're going to face in order to, go far in the playoffs and to be one of the top teams in the league. Boy, I'm standing on the fence on this one, guys, because of some of the play calling and things that the Ravens, either coaches did and players did in the last part of the game that would have secured the victory for them and not even giving the Buffalo Bills a chance to, get back on the field and make it a game which they could come back from. But on the other hand, to be a team that stays in it with a formidable team like that and put the pressure on them for them to make the mistakes, I say the Bills won this game on their grit, tenacity. That grit and tenacity is what we saw down in Miami, even though they lost and they came away with tons of injuries, but you saw them battle that game and really, they should have won that contest also, but that didn't happen. And they had to get back into it and get back on the win, because they are that type of team that they need to win every game. They should win every game. If you look at their stats, practically every time the offense touches the ball, some type of points go up on the board for the Buffalo Bills. And that's scary for any team that's going to face them. So you're going to see other teams making decisions to do more of what you hear when teams face Rodgers and Brady. Don't give them the opportunity to get the ball back. You're going to see that a lot. So, just the Ravens did lose this game. They did lose this game. But they lost it to a damn good team. So another team other than the Bills, I think the Ravens would have fumbled into winning this game if it wasn't the Buffalo Bills that they were playing on Sunday. But it happened to be the Bills, and those types of mistakes, even the Bills themselves lose when they make those types of mistakes that the Ravens did. So in the NFL, turnabout fair play, and a win is a win, and ugly, pretty, whatever, but it seems to be the calling card of the Buffalo Bills. It's going to be gritty. It's going to be gritty, regardless whether you think they should blow them out by 10 or they should just win by 1 touchdown, whatever. The Bills going to show up and give you a gritty game of football.
Coach, what you think? Did the Bills win or did the Ravens lose?
We froze him.
He is frozen. All right. Rube, let me ask you this question. All right. Going into the halftime, it's 10-20, but previously to that touchdown that they got right before half, it's 3-20. What was your thought process in that moment? Looking at how, the Bills were being completely dominated, especially on both sides of the ball.
Yeah. I thought to myself, I said, if this is going to be a championship team, this is the time for them to show their fortitude. Hey, you might lose a game, or you might go out and you don't have your best game. And that's possible. The best Major League Baseball pitchers, they go out, they give up a home run. A great quarterback throws an interception, but that doesn't define the team or the season. What defines them is, hey, we threw the interception, but we came back. Hey, we were down by X amount of points, but we came back and got that win. So absolutely. I think one confidence builder, that they were able to do that and keep their composure in that moment and not lose it, because as a player, there can be a culture of, here we go again. We down by 3 touchdowns. How are we going to, I've been on them teams, them 3 and 13 teams, when you like, 2 touchdowns again this week, we got to come back from, you know what I mean? So that is tough. But when you could change the culture to what the Bills have right now, one that they said, hey, 4 quarters, 60 minutes, it ain't over yet. Let me see you. Let's see how this look when it clicked the 0-0-0. We might have to go to overtime on this mug, and I ain't afraid to go there. And that's what
they almost did go to overtime.
Yeah, they were afraid to go there. And honestly, they had enough experience. Take me to the playoffs, please. I mean, to the overtime, please, because we got experience there. We get that ball, we putting it in the end zone.
Absolutely.
And they were doing that, and they had done it all game, even though they had their ups and downs. So that's kind of what I saw right there. I saw them kind of, y'all messing with the right ones now. The Bills are for real.
They are for real. Looks like we got Coach back. Coach, what do you think about the Bills versus the Ravens? Did you say the Ravens lost it, or you say the Bills won?
I'm just going to say the tale of 2 halves. I'm going to say the Bills lost it in the first half, but come out winning it in the second half. You look at, I talked to Coach Dorsey about those self-inflictions on Monday. How do you stop that? And what did the Bills come out and do? The Bills come out flat as ever. I had the opportunity to talk with Charles Davis right before the game, and some of the things he pointed out that he wanted to see in this Bills team is how much gas did they have left in the tank from that Miami game. They came out flat as ever. They turned the ball over with the tip ball that got picked off, and then obviously, the fumble with Motor Singletary, with an explosive team like the Ravens, they'd jump on you real quick, which they were able to do. But to come down from a 17-point deficit in that first half, that last drive, I think the Bills got into a rhythm on a first touchdown. It was not well together drive. I think it was 15 plays, 81 yards. They were able to put that together and get some things going. Normally they would double dip heading into the locker room, but they were able to get some sort of rhythm going into the locker room, and they came out like a Super Bowl contending team, holding an explosive Baltimore team to 0 points in that second half, and making the turnover differential even with Hoyer's 2 big interceptions. We look at, did the Ravens lose this game? Okay, yeah, they could have kicked that field goal instead of going for it on 4th down, but it's a field goal. At this point, I think the Bills were, really comfortable where they are as far as what they were doing offensively, and they was going down there to score a touchdown. So Harbaugh knew that, and he knew that a field goal was not going to win that game. So put the pressure on the Bills. If they get a score, then hey, he know that they're capable of going down and tying this game. A lot of time left on the clock, and the Bills still had to go down and drive 80 yards to do whatever they had to do, whether it's kicking a field goal or, scoring a touchdown. They just, pretty much, controlled the game in that situation. And, they finally put it together to, get a nice complimentary win. I mean, in that second half, the offense clicked, the defense clicked. Look at Sam Martin's big punt that, that got all the way down to the 5-yard line. So the Bills started, playing some good complimentary football. Guys made plays. Matt Milano played like a man possessed out there. And, they was able to come out with the victory. So I'm going to say the Bills lost it in the first half, but gathered themselves and, and won it in the second half.
That's a great point. Shout out to Leslie Frazier and those linebackers, Tremaine Edmonds and Matt Milano played unbelievable yesterday, especially in that second half to hold the Ravens to 0 points. And be able to allow the Bills to get the win and a fourth down stop for the game there, whether it be a touchdown or a field goal or no points at all, which they were able to accomplish. But with that being said, we're gonna go ahead and get into the flow of the game. First quarter, we got, are the Bills still Super Bowl contenders? Coach, I'm gonna start with you for this one. They dominated the first 2 weeks, came and lost a close one where they also dominated, to be fair, versus Miami. And yesterday was a little less dominant, but they still came out with the win. You think they're still poised to make a run?
Of course, they still poised to make a run. I mean, if the Bills ain't a Super Bowl contender, who else is in the AFC? I mean, Super Bowl teams do exactly what the Bills did yesterday. In the eyes of adversity, come out sounding like a bed of roses. And you look at it in the Super Bowl eras with Jim Kelly, Thurman Thomas, and Bruce Smith. Those games wasn't easy neither. They had to come from behind and make some miraculous wins as well. And those are marks of good teams. And on the road, even to do that on the road against a dominant Baltimore Ravens team. I mean, the first 3 games of the season, Lamar Jackson was, clear-cut MVP favorite with what he was doing with the football. When you look at his overall stats yesterday, again, the Bills hold him to only 73 yards, probably the highest rushing yards he had versus this Buffalo Bills defense since playing against them, and 144 yards passing. All right, he's been torching defenses with 300 yards since the season began. Only 144 and 2 no-nos out there. So you got to give the Bills defense credit for going out there and playing the way they did, giving the offense opportunity to get the ball back to put up points. And of course, the Bills are a Super Bowl contending team. Through the eyes of adversity and what they went through last week, and they clearly showed that. And let's not forget, they're still battling the injury bug as well. Okay, this team is not even at full strength yet. And I tell you right now, come into the season, they're really going to be looking like a Super Bowl team because they're going to be stacked. They're going to be stacked. Xavier Rhodes, we just got him, but he's on IR with the hamstring. For Davis will be back. There may be an OBJ sighting, who knows? But I tell you, yeah, definitely the Bills are a Super Bowl contender team, without a doubt.
All right, Ruben, it's on you. What do you think about the Bills and their chances of making it to February?
I'm in a unique position of being able to identify this, and I'm able to identify this because, one, I was coached by Marv Levy, who took a legendary team 4 times to the Super Bowl consecutively. Also, I played on a team, Brian Urlacher and the gang over in Chicago, and we went to the Super Bowl. And in both of these instances, I picked up things that are telltale traits and signs that really show, are you for real a pretender or are you a contender? And I put the Bills in a category of contender. On paper, they've been a contender at the beginning of the season, and in their play, they've been a contender. They've exemplified a lot of the things that I know that become championship teams. For example, Marv Levy used to tell us all the time, championship teams win on the road. They find a way to win on the road. It didn't say blow people out. It didn't say blah, all the other things. It said find a way to win. And finding a way sometimes is ugly, and you do whatever you can. You win that game. Bills know how to do that. They can do that. And I can see them continuing that. They're in that frame of mind. And number two, every team you face is good. And you can't play down to them. You got to play to win the game, Herm Edwards. You play to win the game. And that's the attitude I see the Buffalo Bills exemplify. I don't think they play down to their competition at all. And so, they're a very formidable team to go up against because, their weaknesses are really, them. They're their own weakness.
Yes, absolutely.
In the way of what they're doing. You know what I mean? Because Josh is playing out of his mind, and they have all of those qualities that I know and I've heard from championship coaches, and I've been on a championship team that to know, like, yeah, you a championship team, you go into a tough environment, play tough teams with the Ravens, and it's a very good tough team. It's going to beat other teams, and you find a way to beat them. All right.
Yeah,
and that's
absolutely.
what the Bills are doing.
Absolutely. To your point, the first 3 games of the season, I have been saying the only team that can beat the Bills is the Buffalo Bills, right? The first half of that Ravens game, they got punched in the mouth. And I was thinking like, wow, the Ravens might be it. And, to the Bills' credit, they came out, they were able to, put more points on the board in the second half and make some defensive stops. First quarter of the season, you played 3 away games. You come out with 1 loss. I don't think anybody would, be too upset with that. But are we going to move into the second quarter? And we talked about it a little bit, but we're going to go dive a little deeper into it, especially when you consider it's week 4. We got a ton of injuries. 3-1 is good, but what are some of the concerns you have about the Buffalo Bills, Ruben?
Offensive lineman, running game, concern number 1. I keep saying this over and over, and I'm gonna always say this is my thing. I'm a run guy, and I know the run is that. It's like you don't win defense. You don't win championships without defense. You can't win anything without having some type of run game. You got to think about it. It's going to come down to at some point on that field where you're going to have to hand that ball off to someone other than Josh and get 1 yard. All right? It may be in the Super Bowl. It might be backed up and we need 1 yard. And everyone in the stadium knows that Josh has been carrying the load, and everybody's pinned on. We need someone, the offensive line, the running backs, the tight end, somebody that say, I got 1 yard. I got 1 yard. You can count on it every time you call me, and I'm going to get 1 yard. That's a play. That's a player or something other than Josh. If you got to ride Josh all the way to the end, he got to make every run. He turned into a running back. Okay, I understand it. But the more times he's running, some guys slide. Look at all these quarterbacks accidentally getting hit. Let's get another guy that can take that. Because he gets hit, can't play. Now Diggs can't catch no balls. Who gonna throw him a ball if Josh get hit on a run play? So my concern is the run game and the commitment to having other players, other skilled players handle the ball in the run game and put that pressure on that offensive line to say, guys, Josh can't drag you all the way to the championship, fellas. Let's give him something. You know what I mean? So it's always the run game with me, guys. So y'all know that.
No, that's absolutely true. To your point, I remember the 3rd and 1 in the fourth quarter. I can't remember exactly when it was, but it was a huge 3rd down, and Josh fakes the handoff on the 3rd and 1, and he runs around the edge. He scores a touchdown, thank God. But if you pay attention, Patrick Queen saw the play the entire way. Now, Josh was good enough to make it happen anyway, but they read it perfectly. Even on the one 4th down conversion, I believe it was, the Ravens saw everything that was coming. The play action, They had it all figured out. Josh just made a play that they couldn't stop, fortunately for us. But
you think we playing that play in the Super Bowl, and that play that's the last play, and Josh in a foot race in the Super Bowl? We better hope that it's the same linebacker playing against them. Because if it happened to be what's the kid over there in Dallas or one of them jokers that can run real fast, they'd be up on him. And I mean, hey, I'll take the bet, and I gotta win, but I don't want to have to work that hard.
Yeah, if we need 1 yard, the defense knows Josh Allen is going to have the ball in his hands, to your point, and we need someone who's going to be able to get us that 1 yard independent of Josh Allen. Coach, what do you think? What are some of your main concerns about the Bills team?
Hey, the elephant in the room is the run game. It's baffling to me. Come on, man. I mean, it was 3rd and inches. It was 3rd and inches, and we couldn't get an inch. That bothers me.
Insult. Insult.
Right. It's an insult. To me, being a coach, knowing that I got these guys that's 350, 3+, and we can't get a damn inch. Are you kidding me? Like, I'm going to my O-line coach. I'm going to my O-line, and I'm letting them have it. I'm going Dorsey right now on my O-line.
I'll be that person.
And I'm already knowing how Rube felt in those third and short situations. He was always begging for the coach to run behind him because he knew it was money time. You know what I'm saying? So we need guys like that. Deion Dawkins need to know, hey, you need to run behind me when it's a 3rd and yard, a 3rd and inches. Man, bring that thing over here to that left side. Run behind Roger Saffold and Deion Dawkins. And they have not done that yet. I don't know what's going on with the play call, the situation. We need to stop running Devin Singletary, little butt, in between the tackles. There's no situations. We are so predictable in that regard. I mean, we only need an inch. Josh Allen is 6'6", 260 pounds. He's under center. Why do we have to go back 3 yards to hand the ball off to get an inch? He should be able to fall forward and get a yard. Like you said last week, Rube, Tom Brady does it all the time on quarterback sneaks. You have never seen Tom Brady get stuffed on the goal line. And everybody knows that Tom is keeping that damn football.
The Steelers he just starting and he doing it.
Right. So I don't understand. It's like the play calling, the play design has to change. They did a sweep for the first time and got 20 yards. You never seen that play again. Like, those are the type of plays that you need to be running with Cook. You need to be running with Devin Singletary. Get them out in open space and let them be them. They're not themselves running in between the tackles. They're not strong enough to break a tackle on 3rd and inches. We don't have, you need a bigger back for that. And we don't have that. Your biggest back is Josh Allen in that regard. So that definitely concerns me, and they need to fix that going forward because we cannot be one-dimensional, going into the winter months, knowing that we're going to have to run this football to stack dubs.
No, Coach, that's a great point. You mentioned Tom Brady. Every time he's on the goal line, needs an inch or whatever, they are confident enough, Patriot days at least, able to go ahead and get that first down with the quarterback sneak. They have a really high percentage as well. It kind of speaks to the confidence or the lack thereof that the Bills have in their offensive line to be able to go get those couple inches.
Right, but let me tell you this, how pissed off Rube would be if they ran the ball to the right on 3rd and 1. Ruben would be pissed. Going to the line of scrimmage already, or just doing this to the coaches like, man, you're supposed to be running behind me on that play. I don't know how many times they might change it in the huddle to run behind Rube, but that's the type of fiery guy he was. And we need Roger Saffold. We need Deion Dawkins to have that type of mentality in those short yard situations. Like, hey, you're paying me all this money. Run behind my ass. Let me earn my money. Don't run behind, those guys on the opposite side because that's going to make the whole O-line look bad when we don't get the goddamn yards. You know what I'm saying? Run behind your money players. Run behind your dogs. And, hopefully the problem could be solved. but it's definitely something that they need to fix.
Definitely. I mean,
no, that's a great point. You
That's
got
what-
any final thoughts before we move on, Root?
No, you Mookie was right. I would have been cussing everybody out in that. You'd call hell if they wouldn't have run that route line. I don't care if everybody in the stadium knew that we were about to run behind Rueben. We all know that. Damn right, we're gonna run right here and we're gonna get it. So,
all right, guys. So we at halftime now. We talked about some of the more concerning things from this game, as far as what we thought went wrong, or what we think about the future. But we're going to go ahead and talk a little bit about the more positive things. Let's talk about some players that shined in this game, right? Coach, who were some of the players that you thought played well in the second half, because nobody played well in the first half?
Holy cow! I mean, where do I begin? Let's just begin with Matt Milano. First of all, let's give credit where credit's due. Matt Milano, Money Matt, big money Carly, like a man possessed, 13 tackles out there, making plays, and he did not let Lamar Jackson shake his ass one-on-one like he did 2 years ago, where Matt Milano tackled a ghost out there. This year, he was able to make that tackle on one-on-one. So he almost got hit, bop. He almost got bopped, but he was able to get his hands on Lamar and take him down. That big stick on the goal line on 2nd and goal, when he almost took J.K. Dobbins' head off, I think that set the tone for that actual series, because that was a loss. That was a tag. That was like a 2-yard loss. He just came flying out of nowhere, left his body. You know what I mean? He left his body and just put every bit of his soul into J.K. Dobbins, and I think that gave that defense a spark to go ahead to do what they did on that last defensive drive. And probably end up getting that good interception, and the rest is a win for the Bills. But Matt Milano definitely balled out, and that's what we want to see out of those guys. They've been getting a lot of flack. Cam and Tremaine Edmonds been getting a lot of flack. That second half, Leslie Frazier definitely put those guys in position to make some plays. So a player that definitely shined to start off, I got to give it to Matt Milano.
Matt Milano was a beast. Rube, who were some of the players that stood out to you?
Mook, I watch the games now. A lot of people are like, "Oh, who's your favorite team?" I really watch for competition to see how people are playing, how the young guys are competing. See if I see any semblance in them from guys of my day or before me, the great players. And Josh obviously jumps out when it comes to highlights and people making impacts and things like that. A few other skill guys here and there sprinkled in there, but hands down, Matt Milano, he's the star this week of guys that got your attention. You know what I mean? He really, he's playing ball. He's a baller. He's getting up in people's face, sticking on them, and making that Buffalo Bills defense formidable. I mean, that's a tough defense over there that they got going on, and he's a key part of it, and he's shining each week. You know what I mean? Each week you're seeing something from him that he's coming in. What he led everybody in tackles this game, right? 11 tackles, 2 assists, some number like that. That's a good day for a linebacker out there. So I know there was some other performances, but whenever you're a scout and you're looking at talent and you watch all the talent on the screen, usually there's one that jumps out, and he definitely jumped out. I mean, there's a lot of great players out there, guys, but he jumped out. He's the guy that stands out for me.
He made a lot of plays, and not only did he get a lot of tackles, but a lot of them were like tackles for a loss or big stops that we needed the most. And so absolutely, Matt Milano shined. I want to give a shout out to Tremaine Edmonds as well. He played really, really well. Josh Allen, I don't want to take him for granted because we know he's a superstar. We know he's the guy, but he still played like a superstar. Yeah. He played like the guy. But for my player, I'm going to go with Jordan Poyer, right? That interception on the batted pass, that was huge.
Yeah.
Devin Duvernay wide open in the corner of the end zone. He was able to recognize it, sprint over there, and get the interception that allowed us to go down the field, win the game on a field goal. Having him back this week, I think it meant a lot. I don't think we win this game if Jordan Poyer is out there, and that's no disrespect to Jaquan Johnson or Devin Hamlin.
No, you're right on.
But Jordan Poyer is just a different animal. He's a different beast. He's the leader of our defense, and he was a huge part and a huge reason of why we were able to get the win today. So a lot of great performances. A really great defense, and also Leslie Frazier has just continued to show why he's one of the best, if not the best, defensive coordinator in the entire NFL. We're going to go ahead and get into the fourth quarter now. We're going to talk about a little bit of AFC, playoff picture and what's going on, and we're also going to focus on Pitt, right? But Chiefs won last night. The Jets were able to get a win over the Steelers. Like, there was a lot of things that happened today. But for right now, obviously the Dolphins still run the AFC East as far as having first place with the head-to-head win over Buffalo. Bills are currently in the fifth seeding. Oh, okay. What's up?
That's what we gotta live with.
That don't even sound right. Don't even talk about Miami.
I said they run it. That was a slip up. They're at the top of the AFC East for now.
Yeah.
for now.
We gotta live with it. We gotta live with it.
But yeah, Rube, what do you think about the way the AFC is shaping up?
Oh man, so the way things are going, I'm happy to see the success in Kansas City. Watching that game last night, I like that. We Brady's had plenty of success. He's still having fun. So I don't feel bad for him losing at all. I like to see the Kansas City Chiefs getting their game together, because that's the team that I like to see in the playoffs. And the Buffalo Bills is the only team that's itching to get them in the playoffs. Everybody else afraid to see them. We want them. All right. That being said, in the AFC East, AFC period, I'm happy to see Kansas City winning, because I want that matchup down the road. And they're doing well, and I think they'll take care of everything out that way. But over here, closer to us, all right, we're going to be tested. We better, but we're going to be tested. And we're going to be tested more than what we thought. Here we have the Dolphins. They're going to fumble around, but they got the win over us. Okay, that's going to be a factor in the whole seeding and the hierarchy and stuff for the time being, until the Bills continue to win. But what's unpredictable are these Jets, all right, in this scheme. They're 2-2, all right? And the NFL is not one of them places where you could just roll your helmet out there on the field and win. And, and we can't just walk up to New England and say, hey, y'all got third string quarterback and we're going to win. Patriots took Green Bay to work last night. So I
with
look
the
at
backups back up.
Yeah, with the backups back up. So I look at the AFC East now as a dangerous place. I mean, good for us. We should end up on the top of that heap, but it's only going to sharpen us and have us ready for the rest of the competition and dust them off. I think, surprisingly, we got the best competitions with the Jets, Dolphins, Bills, and Patriots in this little circle we got. So we're not going to be able to sleep on any of them. You know what I mean? But I feel confident now that they're going to go out and beat other teams. Jets going to beat some people. But Patriots going to beat some people. You know what I mean? Miami going to beat some more people. Just as long as, when they see us, they know who the big dog in the room is, and we put them in that place. It's almost like, they work for us. You know what I mean? That's what I want to see it as a Bills fan. The rest of the AFC, Kansas City, build it up, get ready. And the Bills getting ready over here on this side as far as AFC is concerned. The other teams, I don't see them, mustering up enough to come after these two juggernauts.
Nah, I tend to agree with you about the Jets. I'm not as sold on the Patriots side. I do think the Jets are better than the Patriots, but we'll see what happens there. The Jets coming off of a W over the Pittsburgh Steelers. Mitch Trubisky, our former backup quarterback, will not have made it to Buffalo to face his former team because he got benched, right? So the Kenny Pickett era is started in Pittsburgh, Rube. What do you think about that game, that matchup next week?
I think that should be a barn burner for us. I think we should, with our defense facing a rookie quarterback, they should take them out to the woodshed. Really, the talent, they're struggling in a lot of ways that make the Steelers are vulnerable in a lot of ways that just fall right into place in our wheelhouse, stuff that we can handle and take advantage of. Just that young inexperience. And, the Steelers going to have a tough time. They got a defense over there and stuff like that. But I don't think Kenny Pickett is the answer to them having a successful season. It's going to take a little bit more than that. It's going to be a good, hard-fought game between the old teammates, McDermott and Tomlin. They got history there, but I don't feel that worried about the Steelers guys. Honestly, I don't see where the Bills. I think Bills just come out healthy and play hard ball, and they win.
All right, so real quick before we get to Moot, I'm just going to let you guys know the standings in the AFC fully, right? As the playoff picture is concerned, at least because we don't really care about the trash teams, right? The Dolphins are the 1 seed with a 3-1 record over the Chiefs, who are the 2 seed and head of the AFC West with a 3-1 record. The Jacksonville Jaguars are the 3 seed with a 2-2 record above the AFC South. And the Browns are in control of the North as of right now with a 2-2 record. And we have the Bills, the Bengals, and the Titans rounding out the playoff seeding with the Ravens and Jets and Chargers and the Broncos right there on the bubble. So hearing all that, Coach, what are your thoughts on the AFC? And do you think we might see some surprises this year?
Well, I mean, everybody thought that, the AFC West was going to be wild west because all these quarterbacks and all that. But we all know that Kansas City is still the creme de la creme in the AFC West. And obviously the record shows that. You see what's happening in the AFC North. That's just all discombobulated. I think the top guy in that division is 2-2 right now, right? Cleveland.
Yes, sir.
Cleveland is 2-2 with Cincinnati's 2-2. You have Pittsburgh and you have Baltimore. Baltimore is 2-2. So that division is still up in the air. Then going over into Jacksonville. Jacksonville is definitely the surprise team. I wanted to see how they would fare against the Philadelphia Eagle team that's on the rise, that's looking damn good. And Jacksonville was able to hold their own. So right now, that's letting me know that Jacksonville is legit right now. Let's give them their credit right now. Jacksonville is a legitimate team to be coming out of that South. We're just going to have to see what they do when they do match up against the Colts and when they match up against Tennessee. But right now, Jacksonville is looking pretty good. They're probably the surprise team for me coming out of AFC right now. The way that they're playing, the way Coach Peterson has those guys playing, is like night and day from between last year and now. Then when you do look at the AFC East, it's always going to be competitive with, obviously, the coaching and Bill Belichick and what he does in New England. Obviously, Miami, they got off to a good start, but who's to say how it's going to happen now with all the investigation, with the quarterback being out? Who knows if Tua is going to be available, at all this year. then, obviously the Jets are acting a little sneaky, but I don't think that they're quite there yet when you put them up against a real contending team. So right now, to me, it's Bills, it's Kansas City, uh, and then, other than that, those are to me are your one tier teams. Everybody else is tier two and on down. Um, you know,
The
that's how I
Ravens. What
feel.
about the Ravens? Where do the Ravens stand?
Uh, I have to put the Ravens in tier two right now. They're on that cusp, tier one, tier two, but I'm gonna have to put them at tier two right now, just because of the situation. They easily could be undefeated, but you know, they're now playing with the Bills can't win the close games and stuff like that down the stretch. They're just disastrous, in the second half right now. So who's to say where that team's mental is now going into, you know, the duration of the season. You got obviously Marcus Peters and Harbaugh is jawing at each other at the end of their game. So not to say we don't know what's going on with the state of that locker room right now. I have to give them a tier two and see how they could bounce back from, not only losing to the Bills in that fashion, but being mentally scarred and losing to Miami the way they lost that way too. But I think the Bills, they play Pittsburgh this week, and we know Pickett came in and gave them a spark, but I'm not sure if Tomlin's going to pull the plug on Mitch Trubisky just yet. We look at Kenny Pickett, yeah, he did come and give him a spark, but he did throw 3 interceptions too. All right, let's keep in mind of that nobody's talking about. He can't come to Buffalo and throw 3 interceptions and think that they're going to have a shot at winning that game. So I think Tomlin is still going to go with Mitch Trubisky because I think he still gives them the better opportunity to win that game. And on top of that, Trubisky, played in Buffalo last year, so he does have some familiarity, some sort of experience with tendencies with this team. And I think that's a little bit more comfortable coming into Pittsburgh than, coming into Buffalo rather than, a rookie still trying to find his way. And you don't want your rookie quarterback going up against pretty much another one defense in the NFL. So let's pump our brakes a little bit on this Pickett situation. I think Trubisky's still going to be the starter, but the Bills do owe Pittsburgh because Pittsburgh caught the Bills lacking week 1 last year, and that was the game that the Bills needed to secure home field advantage. So it's payback time for the damn Steelers. And I don't care if you're a depleted team or not, or kick your team-wise down, then we're going to see how really hungry that the Bills are to go ahead and take care of business this week at home and do what they need to do versus Pittsburgh. So without a doubt in my mind, I think the Bills is going to take how they was over the way they overcame that second half, and I think that's going to continue, going into this week versus Pittsburgh. So I think, we should be licking our chops right now for a blowout. The Bills should be hungry for a blowout again because if Levi Wallace ass is out there, they don't go after Levi Wallace ass. I bet you'll see a Diggs probably isolated one-on-one with that guy. And we all know what that outcome going to be. So Bills is going to be big versus Pittsburgh still. That game better not be close this week.
Levi versus Diggs is that's not a good sight. All right, guys, that ends the game here. We won this game, so that means we're gonna go ahead and get into the kneel down. Right? Of course, every kneel down comes with us three giving our own perspectives of whatever we want to talk about in the NFL. We're gonna go ahead and start off with the Hall of Fame candidate and his rundown. That's Ruben's rundown. What's on your mind this week, Rube?
Oh man, what's on my mind is the NFL and this whole concussion deal, and it's a sham. It's marketing, it's advertising. They're not really taking a serious look at these injuries and trying to prevent them. The culture in football is one where you're going to try to push the player back out onto that field 9 times out of 10. So, there's a lot of people up in arms about what happened to Tua, and rightfully so, because they definitely pushed him back out there on that field sooner than he needed to go out there on the field. And I'm going to say this to all the guys that are actually playing and play the game. Have no fear in sitting down. All right? If you have a ding or bump or bruise or something that's going to compromise your play, sit down. Don't feel bad. You ain't letting your teammates down. You ain't letting nobody down. Sit down, because I'm going to tell you, in the business aspect of football, if you go out on the field and you're injured, hurt, or you trying to push through because somebody pumped you up like we need you type thing, and you don't go and perform at the level that you're expected to perform, they're not going to give you a pass on, hey, my hamstring was hurt, or my ankle was twisted, or I was dizzy. They're not going to say that if you don't win the game. If you don't win the game, they're going to mark you down as you healthy. And when you go in and negotiate, they're going to say, hey, remember that game and so-and-so you played and you weren't that good. They beat you up in that game. Your stats look like this, that, and other. And you'd be like, wait a minute, but I was hurt. I was playing for you, trying to give you more. Nah. So I'm telling all players, you hurt, you dinged up, you can't play, you feel compromised, sit down. Let someone else. You can fight back and win your position back, or you can show people what you are when you're healthy out there. Don't fight through injuries and these concussions and these dings and stuff like that. This is a message to players. Don't fight through that. You don't have to. You're a good enough player to recover and get back on the field and show what you're really worth when you're healthy, opposed to you trying to do the macho tough man thing and then end up sacrificing your career. And I've saw this done a million times. Name a name. Robert Hicks, one of the best offensive linemen that ever played, and he could have been great. But he fought through an injury that he should have sat down from and never healed properly, and it ended his career. All right? And the team don't give a damn. All right? And the team was trying to tell him, oh, you get over, going back out there. And then they evaluate him. Well, he can't move that well. Well, of course he can't move that goddamn well. His damn ankle up. And you forcing him to go out there to make his living. So, players, sit down. You know what I mean? Tua, sit down. If I'm on the field, tell the other guys, sit down. I know I went on a long time about that, but it's near and dear because I saw a lot of careers end, messed up and stuff, and the league saying that they protect you. They ain't protecting you. They don't give a damn.
Live to fight another day.
Yeah. They got another Rueben coming. They're going to pay. So,
absolutely. Thank you for that message. I think that's absolutely important. You know, live to fight another day. Sometimes you got to lose the battle to win the war. So absolutely appreciate that. Next up, we got Coach, Scout, Sports Director. He does everything. The legendary Mookie Hawkins. We got a moment with Muki. What's on your mind today, Mook? You muted.
I'm gonna join in on that moment. I got another moment, but I'm gonna join in with Rueben on that. And let me be clear, man. CTE is real. You know what I mean? When these guys' careers are over and the lights go off and they're not being interviewed, they're not around the fanfare and all that stuff, and they gotta deal with it behind closed doors. Like Rueben said, the NFL don't care, man. You know what I mean? Like, they don't care, man. We got guys that's committing suicide, okay? Because of the battles they went out there and put on the line for the NFL, okay? This Tua situation, everybody and their mama, including Jimmy Hoffa, know that Tua had a concussion when Matt Milano pushed him versus the Bills on Sunday. You're not going to sit up here and tell me a guy gets up, shakes his head, and then falls back down, and you're going to tell me it was his back. He did not grab his back. If I get up from the back, I'm going to immediately grab my back.
Yeah.
All right? So with that being said, And I'm not no hater or nothing like that, but the NFL really need to set precedent on the Miami Dolphins from top to bottom with this. And here it is, an organization that we know, going back to Brian Flores on how they were saying how Miami was tanking. So if this is an organization that's willing to do that, we know that this organization is willing to lie to have a player go out there and perform because they wanted to beat one of the best damn teams in the NFL. And they know they didn't have a rat's ass of a chance on doing that with Teddy Bridgewater out there. So what do? Y'all sit up there and put and make blame and say outside consultant need to hit Miami where it hurts. I would take that damn game away from Miami. One. If you play with an illegal player, I'll take that game, I'll suspend that coach, and I'll find the shit out of that organization for that happening. Because let's say somewhere down the line, Tua brain doesn't, after his career, we might hear about him committing suicide or dealing with CTE, and then they're going to go back to saying, oh, yeah, Mike McDaniels, you said it was his back. You know what I mean? So where's the accountability? Talk about you taking care. You're not looking out for your players in that regard. That man limbs locked up on national TV. The scariest thing I ever seen during the course of a football game. I have a problem with that. Miami still should be in hot water with that, and there should be some precedent set by the NFL on putting the hammer down on the Miami Dolphins.
We agree on that.
Yeah, for sure. And I want to point out they fired the consultant that made that call, but however many thousand of us that was watching that game in the stadium, outside the stadium, on the field, in the line, we all saw that was a concussion.
Yeah,
there was no way they should have been able to just scapegoat him that way and make it seem like it was all his fault. The coach, the GM, whoever was the decision maker in that process should all be held accountable. For that. I'm here. We got Coach back. You want to finish
back? You just in time for justice. Yeah.
Shoot your shot, General.
All right. So for me this week, I agree with both of you guys, and I really appreciate the fact that you guys were able to put that out there, because I do think that message that you guys put was very important. But from my segment, a general rule, I'm gonna give a little bit of praise to Leslie Frazier. I just look, it's tough. Not tough, because I do appreciate what Dorsey is doing. I think he has called 3 magnificent games. He had a tough half in the first half yesterday, but he came back and they were able to have a pretty good second half and get the win. But the way that Leslie Frazier has coached this defense up, he's finally got the requisite talent to be a number one defense versus just having a number one defense on paper, but not really in the locker room per se. I just think he's done a magnificent job. Lamar Jackson is a top 3 quarterback for my money. He was out there playing like an MVP for the first quarter of the season. And to hold that man to 0 points in the second half, to make that offense as flustered as they was, I remember, you guys remember Lamar's MVP season where he was just running ramsack through everybody's defense. Didn't matter who was on the field. Leslie Frazier put on paper a way to stop Lamar Jackson, or at least to contain him more than typical, because he was just balling out against everybody. Leslie Frazier has put on paper a way to defeat Patrick Mahomes in the regular season last year. Like, I just want to, give a shout out to everything that Mick Frazier, because it's not just Leslie, obviously, but, both of those guys, the way they work in tandem, the way they have their players in a position to succeed week in and week out, and go out there and perform. We do have the best quarterback on the planet, in my opinion, but I think to have, a coaching staff like that, to put a defense like that out there on the field every week is a luxury I don't take for granted. So I'm going to give a little bit of love to Leslie Frazier, because I think, what they're doing over there is absolutely incredible.
Awesome. Yeah, he deserves it. He definitely deserves it.
Absolutely. You want to send us out, Mook, or you guys ain't have anything else you want to add?
I'm good. Oh, hey, Mook, I throw something in on the end of what you were talking about. Honestly, when the Dolphins, it came out that they actually was tanking. Everybody know that they was tanking and stuff like that. they should have pulled the team from them then. Because that's messes with the whole gambling thing and betting. Isn't it?
I'm sure it's not legal to have a player come be the quarterback and have a deal to also be an owner in the next couple of years. Like, I'm sure that's not legal. Like, they've had a string of things that are inappropriate.
Yeah, they should pull that team from them. They should have been pulled. They'd be like, y'all not the right owners. But for some reason, it ain't. Yeah.
Kyer Island, man. Rashad Bateman, 3 catches, 17 yards. Yeah. Nobody's talking about it. Nobody's talking about the Bills' first-round draft pick out here in these first 2 games of starting. Nobody's catching passes on this kid. Just saying.
Y'all see what y'all got in the back, what we got back there, where them boys come from. You know where them boys come from.
You got Dane Jackson from Pitt. You got, DeMar Hamlin out there from Pitt. Elder Pitt out here.
Hey, it's a pipeline. People don't want to give it no love, but hey, all you got to do is go open up the book and look at the alumni list.
Deep.
That's a hell of a list.
Don't mess with it.
All right, Coach, you want to send us out?
One love.
All right, definitely. Hey, so with all that in the NFL world, everybody thought that the Bills was down and out because we took that little L to Miami. But guess what? The Bills bounced back in Baltimore, take care of business, and get out of there with the win 23-20. Now, only thing you got to do is ask yourself, do you believe?